Hey everybody, Star 6 Wars 1 here, and welcome to the final countdown of the month of favorites. For this one, we are taking a look at my top 15 favorite anime movies, because I couldn't justify making a top 15 movies, at least in my opinion. Now, I will say this first up, that I really do enjoy anime movies. Well, that's obvious because I've devoted 2 entire months to just watching anime movies and reviewing them. So it's kind of obvious I picked this one. And to be quite frank here, and this is one rule I'm going to do here, there will only be one Kyra no Kyoukai film because half the list would be developed into the Kyra no Kyoukai films if that was not the case. So look out for that. So without further ado, let us begin. Number 15. Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. Oh, I'm probably going to get a lot of controversy for not putting the original Ghost in the Shell in this countdown, and this is the only Ghost in the Shell movie. Quite honestly, and I hate saying this, I think a lot of the fact of why I like this one more is because I like the characters of Ghost in the Shell 2 more than I did in Ghost in the Shell 1. Now, it's not to say that I think either film are bad. I think both are good. But I take character over story. So Ghost in the Shell 2 obviously would resonate more with me being more character-based. Anyways, the character focused on it is Bato, and he's my favorite character in Ghost in the Shell, so that makes sense. And quite frankly, I just enjoy the movie. What more needs to be said? Number 14. Fullmetal Alchemist, Conqueror of Shambhala. Okay, I need to say this right now. Conqueror of Shambhala is the epilogue to the 2003 series, and I like the animation. It's still Studio Bones' greatness. I love the music still. I think it's still great. And I do like the characters. Well, not quite as strong as both series. I do think Conqueror of Shambhala at least has a little more good character to it. The major problem with the thing, and what holds it back from getting any higher on the list, is its story and how it ends. And let me point in this regard, the ending for Conqueror of Shambhala completely shoots itself in the foot for being an epilogue, leaving it way too open-ended, and leaving many more plot holes and questions than answers. That's kind of what I don't like about the movie. And I wish it was fixed, but oh well. Number 13. Blue Exorcist the movie. Now, I'm going to be quite honest with you guys here. This movie surprised me. I did not think I would like it, especially given how I was back and forth on my thoughts with the series itself. And I knew the movie was non-canon, so I wasn't expecting anything good coming into it. In fact, I was kind of expecting to hate it a little bit. But not only to my surprise did I like it, but I really liked it, especially its ending, which was my biggest problem with the series, which is again kind of ironic. I really enjoyed how it ended and was quite impressed with it, though it does have its problems. And I will never deny that. But quite frankly, I think this kind of redeemed the series a little bit for me, and Blue Exorcist as a whole. Though it's not perfect, it was a pretty good movie, and I'm glad I saw it. Number 12. Lupin the Third and the Castle of Cagliostro. Now, to be very fair here, this is the oldest anime I have ever seen. It was released originally in 1979. And it's not only the oldest movie I've seen, it's also the only Miyazaki film in the countdown. And I know what you're thinking. What? This is a Miyazaki film? Yeah, it is. It's not Studio Ghibli, it's pre-Ghibli, but it is a Miyazaki film. He directed this one, and quite frankly, it's my favorite of his movies. Now, to be kind of fair here, it does have its minor things, but a lot of why I liked it was just a fun watch. And that's really all I gotta ask for it. Not much else to say. I do recommend it though, and I think it is becoming kind of underrated because of its age. but I do highly recommend you see it at least once. Number 11. Akira. Okay, I'm going to be honest here and saying this is probably going to end up being a controversial entry because once again, I am not putting a movie that's critically acclaimed higher on the list. I really like Akira. I have a great amount of respect for it and what it's done for the industry. I don't necessarily say it's the best movie out there, and I think it's a tad bit overrated. Not by much, mind you, but it's a tad overrated. And I'm kind of saddened by that, but I can't do much about that. It's overrated to me, and I just didn't enjoy it as much as other people. I did enjoy it more so in the second watch through, though, as I mentioned in my look back of it. But I will be honest, there are little nitpicky stuff that I just couldn't get over. And it just barely missed the top 10 because of that. There's nothing in fault with it, though. It is a pretty good movie, and I highly recommend you see it. It's one of those kind of films that... It's not one of the ones like Evangelion or Cowboy Bebop, like you have to watch it. But I definitely recommend you watch it, because it's done a lot for the anime industry as a whole. Number 10. Fullmetal Alchemist Sacred Star of Milos. Now, the Sacred Star of Milos isn't necessarily the best of the Fullmetal Alchemist movies. Heck, it's not even really that great Fullmetal Alchemist-wise, and as I've said before, I don't feel like it has quite the same charm as the rest of the Fullmetal Alchemist stuff, even Conqueror of Shambhala. That said, though, I think it is the better movie. It's fun and action-packed. It doesn't have the completely bullshit and shoots itself in the foot story that Shambhala had. And it has, a decent ending. Not my favorite, mind you, but it's got a decent ending. And one I can appreciate, unlike Conqueror of Shambhala. So overall, I will say that it is a pretty good movie. And if you have to check out one of the two, I'd take Sacred Star of Milos, as Shambhala was a bit of a disappointment for me, if I'm being kind of honest. Number 9. The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Now, all 3 of the Mamoru Hosoda films that were released more recently will be on this countdown. And yes, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time is the lowest ranked one. But comparing the fact that I have seen 42 anime movies, and this is ranking at number 9, that's still an accomplishment in and of itself. Now on to why I like the movie. Well, one of the things is the main character. I really like the main character, and I'm quite happy about that. She's not my favorite of the Mamoru Hosoda characters. That would be Hana from Wolf Children, but we'll get to her later. But I will say that Makoto is one of my particular favorites, and I quite enjoyed her. And I liked how she learned through the film, and I like that character development. And I like the story. I'm a sucker for time travel kind of anime, so that I like. So kudos. Really, there's not much more I need to say. I just like the movie, and that's all that needs to be said. Number 8. Cowboy Bebop, the movie Knocking on Heaven's Door. Now, it's pretty much more of Cowboy Bebop's greatness. Really, if you want to know my opinions of Cowboy Bebop as a whole, watch my review. If you want to know a lot of my thoughts on the movie, watch my review. Because I'll be honest, I'd just be repeating myself and saying that it's a pretty damn good movie, and it's one of the better episodes of Cowboy Bebop. And I'm dead serious with that. It feels like a Cowboy Bebop episode with a much larger budget and just amazing everything. I can't just say enough. It's one of those, just go watch the movie. I don't have much more to say than that. So, I just like it. Number 7. Evangelion 3.0 You Cannot Redo. Yes, I have an Evangelion film not only on my countdown, but on near the top of my list. How many of you are shocked? But quite frankly, I quite enjoy this film. It had a very depressing tone to it, It still has a lot of the psychological bullshit that I think the series itself had, but I think here it was executed better, in my opinion. Then the fact that characters are downright despicable assholes, and to be kind of frank, they kind of were in the series, they just didn't want to admit it. At least here it's more blatant, and I kind of enjoyed it more. If that makes me sound sadistically evil for it, I'm sorry, but I kind of enjoyed the characters because I just don't like any of them to begin with. And quite frankly, I think Shinji actually was a relatable character for once, and I'm glad for that. So overall, I really like the film despite my dislike of the franchise. Number 6, 5 centimeters per second. Now, I know in my original review, I gave it a 10 out of 10 and called it my favorite anime movie. My opinions have since changed a little bit, and it's no longer my favorite anime movie. But I will still say it's a great movie, and I still highly recommend you watch it. And it is the one that Darkness Dragoon Rose recommended to see because he wanted to do a review of it. And I do miss the fact that he never did get to review it, because I would have liked to see his opinions on it in full. But you get what you get. Now, one thing I will say about this movie is I think it's a very unique story when it comes to romance in anime. I won't spoil why, though, because that kind of ruins part of the experience. It's a very depressing movie at times, but I do think it's well worth it in the end, and that's why one of those things of you should go watch it. But either way, it is a good movie. Number 5, the second of the Mamoru Hosoda films, Summer Wars. Now, I quite enjoy Summer Wars a lot. I think a lot of it has to do with nostalgia because it really reminds me of the Digimon movie, with our war game part at least, and that was also made by Mamoru Hosoda, so it makes a whole lot of sense that it'd be like that. But truth be told, I also like it as a standalone movie as well. I think it's a pretty good one. I think seeing it in full was a pretty good experience, and I quite enjoyed it. I don't know how much more to say other than that, because it's one of the ones I highly recommend you see. Especially if you like the aspects, if you like the premise, you'll like the story. Guarantee it. And I quite enjoy it. Number 4, Madoka Magica Movie 3 Rebellion. Oh boy, I bet this is going to be turning a lot of heads, as this movie is either loved or hated by the fans. And not for good reason. Its ending is an extremely polarizing ending, and it's basically the end of Eva meets Madoka Magica, in a way. Because it splits the fan base completely. Some hate it, some like it, some just don't care, and everything in between. And I love it. Okay, I admit this, it's not perfect. I admit the first 2 or 3 minutes are like, what the fuck? And the rest are just different. It's a different kind of film. And before you ask, yes, I was spoiled to it before watching the movie. Heck, I had to watch it in theaters, so awesome. I also did so with Evangelion 3.0, but that's besides the point. Anyways, I just like the film. Sorry to those who don't, and I get why, but I just like it. That's all I need to say. Number 3, Trigun Badlands Rumble. Now, a lot of what I said back in my Cowboy Bebop Knocking on Heaven's Door entry is very true here. It feels like another episode of the anime, and a much better animated one at that. This one was made long after the anime ended, and was made because it was popular in the West. And I quite like that, because this is an amazing film. Just all the Trigun fun. The only complaint I ever had with the movie is the English dub, and it's more so growing pains from not having a good chunk of the main cast still. Except Johnny and Bosch, thank God they kept him for Vash. Either way though, I still really enjoy the movie. Action's great, the animation's great, the music's great, Everything really is great, and that's why I love it. What more do I need to say? Number 2, the final of Mamoru Hosoda's films, Wolf Children. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, I love this movie. I freaking love this movie. If it was not thanks to the Black Critic guy, I probably would have not watched this movie. But you know what? This movie was amazing. This movie is one of the absolute best things I have seen in anime film, topped only by the next entry. But my god, this film, the character of Hana is just wow. Just wow. And the animation, oh my god, the animation. That shit is awesome. And I am fanboying so hard right now. But seriously, that's what this movie does to me. It makes me want to fanboy. Because it's awesome. Honestly, do you need me to give it any more of a recommendation? I reviewed it with the Black Critic guy. It's awesome. No, what more needs to be said? Just, it's awesome. Number 1.1. Kyra no Kyoukai, Movie 7, Murder Speculation Part 2. Yeah, I was betting where you guys were wondering when this would show up. You knew I was going to put a Kyra no Kyoukai film up here. But I doubt you expected to be my favorite anime film, period. Along with another one that we'll get to in a minute. But this movie is just amazing. Such closure to the series. Such a grand ending to the story, and just it feels like a nice conclusive end. Not one of those bullshit happy endings, but an actually deserved happy ending. And just, my god, this movie is just amazing. And that last 30 minutes, oh my god, the last 30 minutes. I love every second of that last 30 minutes. And I have watched it again and again, more times than I'd like to admit. But seriously guys, this movie is just amazing. And I love it. What more needs to be said? Number 1.2. The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. Now this movie is almost perfection, at least in terms of that series. The pacing, perfect. The story, pretty damn good. The characters, greatly developed, with Yuki Nagato and Kion being the best of them. The animation, some of Kyoto Animation's best. The music, oh my god, that's just awesome. It's just an amazing film. And it's just brilliant. I love this film. I love it a lot more than I thought I would. And I thought I'd love the movie anyways. But, just, my god, I love this film. I've not even seen the series. And before any of you harp on me, I've had a lot of harp on the fact that I've not seen it before anyways. But, I just love the film. That's all I really need to say is, I just love this film. And I highly recommend anyone watch it, because it's just amazing. Anyways, that's all from me. This has been Star 6 Wars 1, and I'll see you guys next time.